You ever wonder why some people just have it? They walk into a room, they barely say anything, but everyone just seems to listen to them. Meanwhile, other people can talk and talk and talk, and it's like they're invisible. Well, today, we're going to get into exactly that. We're going to uncover the 7 kind of counterintuitive behaviors of quiet power, the things that make people respect you almost instantly. And this isn't about being liked, no. It's about being genuinely respected. And this quote right here, it just nails it. We live in this super loud world, right? Everyone's shouting to be heard. But real respect, that deep, unshakable kind, it almost always goes to the person with that quiet strength. They're like the eye of the hurricane, the calm center that everyone can't help but watch. So here's our game plan. First, we'll tackle the paradox of respect. Then we'll dive into the actual behaviors, starting with the internal mindset stuff, and then moving to the external actions. And we'll wrap it all up by showing how it all comes down to one thing: the art of mastering yourself. All right, let's start with this huge trap that so many of us fall into. We think that to get respect, we have to please everybody. We say yes when we want to say no. We avoid making waves. We basically try to be liked by everyone. But here's the thing. It always backfires. You don't end up respected. You end up as wallpaper, completely invisible. So if being a people pleaser is the wrong way to go, what's the right way? Well, the answer isn't out there somewhere. Real power, the kind that commands respect, is built from the inside out. It all starts with getting a handle on your own internal world. First up is something called emotional detachment. And hold on, this doesn't mean you become a cold, unfeeling robot. Not at all. It's actually the opposite. It's about letting yourself feel everything, but then choosing what you show the world. You're the one in the driver's seat of your emotions, not the other way around. I mean, just think about it. Picture a crisis. Everyone's panicking, running around like their hair's on fire. Who has all the power in that room? It's the one person who's calm, cool, and collected. That composure in the middle of chaos, that's a superpower. Your calm literally becomes your power. Okay, this next one is a huge one: not needing validation from other people. So many of us are just wired to look for that pat on the back, that like, that comment telling us we did a good job. This is about completely unplugging from that whole system. It's about deciding that your sense of worth comes from you and only you. Because the moment you stop looking outside for someone to tell you you're good enough, you take back all the power you were just giving away. You become your own source of validation. And you realize, deep down, that you're the only judge whose opinion should ever really matter. Number 3, and this is another tough one for a lot of us, is setting boundaries and, crucially, not feeling guilty about it. People with this quiet power, they get that their time and energy are limited. They know that every time they say no to something, they're actually saying yes to something more important, and they don't apologize for protecting that. And you gotta remember, boundaries aren't about being mean or difficult. They're just instructions. They're like a user manual that you give to the world on how to treat you. It's a fundamental act of self-respect, and trust me, other people notice. Okay, so that's the internal stuff, the foundation you build inside. But what does it actually look like on the outside? Let's get into the actions, the things people can actually see that signal this inner strength. Think about a heated argument. What's our first instinct? To jump in, to defend ourselves, to argue our point, right? Well, the person with quiet power does the exact opposite. They go silent. They just sit back, they watch, they listen, and they observe. They refuse to get sucked into a pointless fight and waste their energy. By doing that, by refusing to engage in the drama, you stay in control. Everyone else is getting worked up and exhausting themselves, but you're just observing. And you know what? That silence gives your words, if you even decide to use them, a ton of weight. Now, this next one can feel a bit harsh, but wow, is it powerful? It's simply walking away, removing yourself from a toxic conversation or a disrespectful person without feeling like you owe them some long explanation. Because you don't. You don't owe everyone a debate. You have to realize that sometimes the loudest, clearest, most powerful statement you can possibly make is just your absence. Walking away says more than any clever comeback ever could. It says, I value my peace more than I value winning this argument. Quiet power isn't just about big actions. It's also in the small things, like your body language, and specifically, direct eye contact. Just holding someone's gaze, calmly, without looking away. That sends such a clear signal of confidence. It says, I'm here, I'm present, and I am not intimidated. When you can look someone right in the eye without flinching, you're communicating a deep self-belief without saying a single word. Your gaze basically becomes a physical extension of your own inner conviction. And this brings us to number 7, the one that really ties it all together: saying less and doing more. We live in a world that is just full of empty talk and broken promises. People with quiet power are defined by their actions. They don't talk a big game about what they're going to do, they just do it. Their drive is purpose, not putting on a show. Honestly, this is the ultimate mic drop. Why would you waste your breath trying to convince people of your value when you can just show them? Let your results, your work, your character, let them do all the talking for you. They're way more convincing anyway. So we've got these 7 behaviors, right? But they're not just our random collection of tips and tricks. They all grow from the same root. They all point back to one single unifying idea: the art of self-mastery. When you really boil it down, you're looking at 2 different paths in life. On one path, you're constantly chasing approval. You're pleasing others, you're looking for validation, you're always explaining yourself. Then there's the other path, commanding respect. That's where you're mastering yourself, setting your own boundaries, and acting with purpose. And if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this: respect is not something you get by being a people pleaser. It's something you command by mastering yourself. You don't have to ask for it, you don't have to beg for it. It becomes the natural byproduct of your own inner control. And you know what the crazy, ironic part of all this is? The very moment you truly, genuinely stop trying to get everyone's approval, that is the exact moment the world turns around and starts paying attention to you. Your lack of neediness becomes magnetic. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question to chew on. Your worth, your fundamental value as a person. It's not up for a public vote. It's not decided by a poll. It's just there. So the real question is, why would you ever hand the ballot to somebody else?